All right, we're learning the Dvar Malchut here. For the people who were just with me, I don't exactly understand what happened, but I forgot to make the second class. I just got involved in something else. And I forgot I should have immediately made the second class, which is this class, but it's never too late. So here goes the second class. I'm sorry. In Dvar Malchut. Oh, all right. We're talking about the fast of the 10th day of Teves and how this was foretold by the prophet Ezekiel with a message given to him by God to take a big pan of iron and stand this between you and the city. This is a sign that the siege on the Holy Temple had begun and the destruction of the Holy Temple was imminent if the Jewish people did not change their ways, and they didn't change their ways. So this wall, this frying pan that God told Ezekiel to use as a sign was made of iron. Iron has a bad reputation in Judaism. The Holy Temple was not used, but with iron implements, at least not on the mountain. Iron was an instrument of destruction, of death. Therefore, it wasn't used. The tabernacle in the desert did have three metals that were used: gold, silver, and copper. But iron was not one of them because iron has very negative connotations. It says the Rebbe, that's exactly the point of our being in the world, is to know how to take the negative things in the world and, if possible, to transform them to good. Not everything can be done. Some things have to be eliminated totally. But those are few, and the majority of things can be elevated, and this thing of iron is possibly the best example of all. And the Rebbe says to the degree that iron, which is an implement of war, an implement of death, will be used in the third temple as one of the ingredients. In Hebrew, the word for iron is barzel. Barzel also happens to be the initials of the names of the mothers of Judaism and their maidservants, the four women from which all the tribes were born. Bilhah, she was the maidservant of Rachel. Zilpah, she was the maidservant of Leah. So we have Leah and Rachel and Leah, and their maidservants. From them came all of the 10 tribes. From Leah came 6 of the 10 tribes. From Rachel came 2. From Bilhah came 2, and from Zilpah came 2. And not only that, the order that they're in is that the servants precede their masters. I was just saying that I'm sorry that I didn't immediately start the second class, which I usually do. For some reason, I got distracted, but never too late. Here we go. So also we can understand regarding the Holy Temple. It says in Maimorim of Chassidut that the Holy Temple was made from, the Holy Temple was made from stones. Not like the tabernacle in the desert, which the tabernacle in the desert was made from. On the top were animal skins. The walls below the top, the walls were made from mineral wood, and only the ground was made from, what did I say? Only the ground was made from mineral. So the top was made from animal, the walls were made from plant, and the ground was made from mineral. That was how it was in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle. But the tabernacle was not the goal. The goal was the temple, first two temples, and also the third temple. We'll see the third temple is going to be even more special. The first two temples were made from mineral, rock, cement. The temple, there was no wood that stuck out in it. Why? Because the two temples, that's something like the third temple, and how the whole world will be when the lowest will reveal its high qualities. The earth will reveal that it's higher than the spirit. The body is higher than the soul. Nowadays, it seems to be low. But in the future, we'll see that it's an, in fact, the earth is an amazing creation. And so is the body. Like it says, Eshet Chayal Ateret Bala, the woman of valor will be the crown to her husband. Therefore, the temple was built from stones, mineral. That shows on the aspect of what's called Malchut, from the 10 aspects of God. This is the lowest, which is called kingship. And it was not made from wood, which is plant, which shows on something growing up. Yes, it was made from ground, and it was made from mineral. Ground is mineral, right? Not plant and animal. But that was, none of them were made from barzel, from iron. Iron is even lower than stones. This shows on how the aspect of God's Malchut is also synonymous with God's speech. God created the world with his speech, right? That's what the Bible says. That this is God's aspect of Malchut that creates the world. How this aspect comes down into the world, because God also creates evil and bad. God creates everything. And so this is the aspect of God, how it's possible for God to create even bad things. That's lower than mineral. The lowest aspect of mineral, he says, that's barzel, iron. We can also say that the Holy Temple in the future, the third temple, will be revealed the highness and the uniqueness of this aspect of God's speech, Malchut, to create the world, not only how it is in the upper spiritual worlds called Atzilut, but how it comes down into what's called Bria, Yitzir, and Asiyah, the lower spiritual worlds, until it finally comes down to this physical world, Shetit Bateh, V'achozek B'tokef of Barzel. The third temple will demonstrate not just the high quality that's in the physical world, but the lowest aspect of the physical world, not just stones, but iron, which iron is the strongest of the stones. Asher Avne Barzel, that the stones were made of iron. Alder of Milas Ashvachos, like the maid servants, which are lower than the matrons. Rachel and Leah, they are the matrons, the mothers of Judaism, and Bilhah and Zilpah, they're only their servants, but they come first. Bilhah comes before Rachel, Zilpah becomes before Leah. These are the letters of Barzel. Ulai, maybe we can also say that this idea of Barzel, this holiness of which is going to be in the third temple, and this will come not in a powerful way, but binyano, it will be also from Barzel. It won't be just that it'll be permissible to use iron implements to build the third temple, which was not permissible in the first and the second, and certainly not in the tabernacle in the desert. but even more, that one of the ingredients of the temple will be iron itself. Chelik miyabinyan will be part of the third temple. Barzel and kasiba mishkan. It doesn't say that iron was used in the tabernacle or in the first or second temple. They were destroyed. This refers on the first temple and the second temple. They were destroyed by means of iron. Right? The enemy attacked and they killed Jews and they knocked down the whole temple. How did they knock down the whole temple? They didn't have explosives. They used iron. They knocked down, which is not the case. The third temple will be eternal. It's not possible that it'll be destroyed. Then there's no worry that maybe iron will be destructive, because in the future there won't be any more destructive aspect of iron called barzel de umatze, iron which is destructive. Holiness is usually constructive. God is the creator. God is the creator. True, God puts in the world also the power of destruction. That's what the whole idea of the devil is, the Satan, is to destroy. Iron is one of the substances that demonstrates destruction possibly better than anything else. But in the future, it says that's the whole point of the future. This destructive force won't be used in the world. It'll be a potential. We'll still have a free choice, but no one is going to be so stupid to choose it. It should be built by means of barzel, kadei, in order the highness of the opposite of transforming this barzel, iron that destroyed the temple, to be some sort of iron, the property of iron, which will be used to build the temple. We can say that's in the Divrei Yomim, that in the history of Judaism, Benogea, regarding to David, and also in Divrei Yomim is the book of Chronicles, and regarding to what David did when he prepared the temple, it says, God said that David, you want to build a holy temple? Great idea. You have the merit to do it, but you can't do it. Why? Because you killed too many people. True, all the people that you killed were wars for the sake of God, and they were all commanded to do, but Dam Rav Shafachti, spilled a lot of blood. So what you're going to do, David, you're going to prepare the temple. It says, Hachinoti lebeit Elokei azav v'azav, that King David prepared the plans, and he also prepared for the house of God the gold. He prepared gold for the gold that would be used. He prepared the silver for the silver that would be used. He prepared the copper for the copper that would be used in the temple. And it also says over there about barzel, and he prepared the iron for the iron that would be used. How much barzel? It says barzel mea elef kikarim, 100,000 units of iron. Why did King David prepare this? It says because he was preparing for the third temple. Iron was not used in the first and even in the second temple. It wasn't used. Why did he prepare it? He was preparing for Latid. Here you can look and you can see this word is in Divrei Yomim. Here in Chronicles, the book of Chronicles. Here, Chronicles. There's two books of Chronicles, right? Chronicles 1, Chronicles 2. First book of Chronicles, chapter 29. Chapter 29, sentence, whatever it is, paragraphs 2, sentence 7. And also another place also. Barzel in Mishkan. So how much iron? Okay, so you can look it up. All right, Chronicles, first book of Chronicles, chapter 29, paragraph 2, sentence 7. Sorry. Okay, back to the. So the king said, King David prepared iron But iron wasn't used in the first temple. It wasn't used in the second temple. It was forbidden. David prepared it for David Malchut Moshiach. He prepared it for the days of the third temple, and that it will be built also by means of Barzil. The third temple is going to come from heaven, right? How is that going to be? A good question. I don't know the answer. Nevertheless, King David prepared it. According to this, we can say that the whole idea of the 10th day of Shvat, that was the fast that we had yesterday, was the beginning of the third temple in the future redemption. Because remember, how did the prophet Ezekiel announce that there was going to be a siege beginning on the 10th day of Teves? By a plate of iron, Barzel. And so Barzel is especially connected to the fast of the 10th day of Teves, when the king of Babylon approached, laid siege. He didn't do anything yet. He didn't touch the walls, didn't wreck anything. He laid siege to the walls of Jerusalem. It says this was hinted at by a plate of iron. This is hinting at how iron will be transformed, because why did he make a siege? Why didn't he attack? He made the siege to the city to hint to the Jews. He didn't even know it. To tell the Jews, change your ways. Don't you see that destruction is imminent? Stop being selfish. Stop being egotists. Do what God wants the way he wants it, or the temple will be destroyed. We have to stress over and over and over again, not like the enemies of Judaism say, that because the Jews sinned and the temple was destroyed, therefore God has left the Jews. The purpose of all these prophets is telling us exactly the opposite. God is never going to leave you Jews. He's going to destroy the temple. He's going to scatter you all around. You have no idea how this pains God, because God loves you. God's never going to let you go, right? If the Jews are just bad, so it's like pulling a tooth, get rid of it, throw it in the garbage, and that's it. No, but the Jews are like a bad tooth that you can't pull, because it knows that it's possible to fix it up. So God says, it causes me pain, and you're going to get punished because of it. And it said, but nevertheless, I always love you. The Moshiach is going to come. He's going to gather all the Jews together. But try to get your act together beforehand, so you don't have to go through all this trouble, right? Okay, even though that the siege that was made beginning in Teves was only the beginning of the destruction of the temple. It was only like a year, 2 years later that he destroyed the temple. Since the intention was that afterwards, by means of this, there would be built the third temple, a temple which could not be destroyed, an eternal temple. Therefore, it comes out that the beginning of all of these destructions of the temple, which was the 10th of Teves, when the first time the Gentiles laid siege, there was even the potential to destroy the temple. So it comes out that this terrible thing of destroying the temple was really a preparation for building the third temple. And this is hinted, if the Jews would have just done tshuva, then the first temple would have been it. It would have been eternal. But okay, we know what happened. Let's not cry over spilled milk. Maybe we can cry a bit over the spilled blood that was spilled, but what does it help? If it just helps that we change our attitude, that's what we're trying to do here. The Indian said, this is hinted at, and the sign which was given, and the 10th day of Teves, what God said to Ezekiel, take a machva, take a big plate of iron, and make it a wall of iron. And this will be a sign to the Jewish people. The intention is that the whole purpose, what's this iron wall? It's coming to show that, okay, destruction, but it's also coming to show that no, there's going to be built a wall of iron, that after that will be revealed the whole real true purpose of iron, namely there'll be built a third temple. This can be even made better by knowing the future redemption, which is hinted at on the 10th day of Teves. The 10th day of Teves, the month of Tevet, that's the month we're in now, is the 10th month of the year. If you start counting from Passover, from Nisan, and Nisan is the month of redemption. when the Jews got out of Egypt and when we're going to get out of this terrible exile we're in now. So the 10th month from this month of redemption shows on completion. We're going to see how, especially the 10th day of the 10th month. This 10th, it says the number 10 is always holy. Assyria called holy, like giving the tithe. But the tithe comes from the word 10, 1/10. This hints at a completion of the future redemption, which will be shown in the completion of the number 10. There's 10 sfirot. It says God has 10 aspects of his personality, and we're made in God's image. We also have 10 aspects, 10. And that in the third temple, there's going to be what's called the 10th red cow is going to be offered. That's going to, in order to purify all the Jewish people. There's the 10th, the red cow was burnt and ashes were sprinkled on anyone who was in contact with a dead body to purify him. And that's going to be the number 10th. Also, the land of Israel, it won't be the land of just 7 nations that we inherited. It'll be all the 10 nations that God promised to Abraham, the land of the 10 nations. And even more, the 10th month, Chodesh Tevet, and especially the 10th day of this 10th month, this is a month, it's supposed to be the coldest month of the year. This is the month when a body gets pleasure from another body. And that the body in this case is called God's body, so to speak, God's 10 sfirot, God's essence, gets pleasure from the Jewish people, his body here in the world. That this refers to mainly what's going to be in the future. That then the soul is nourished by the body. The physical is higher than the spiritual, we said, and even more. That God, so to speak, gets an essential pleasure from the Jews, and the soul gets an essential pleasure from the body. All the commandments and things that we did when the soul was in the body. Especially this year, that the 10th of Teves comes on Tuesday. That's how it was this year, right? Yesterday. Tuesday is the day when God created the world. The third day, he said it was, the second day, he didn't say it was good. The third day, he said it was good twice. The first time he said it was good was about the day itself. The second time he said that the day is good is talking about he said, why was it good? Because Desha Esav Mazriya Zera, that was the day when God planted seed in the world and grew up trees and fruits. That this seed, that's the whole idea of the beginning of fruits. Also, we call King David, we call the Moshiach Tzemach David, the plant. The third day, that's when this fast day fell out. This is the day when things started growing from the ground. God said it was good twice. If so, the 10th day of Teves, which the number 10 we said has all these good implications, right? That we're going to get the land of Israel, which was the 10 lands that God promised Abraham. And, and 10 is the completion. The 10th day of Teves, when it falls out on the third day, which the third day is double good. So it means that taking out the good, which is in the 10th day of Teves, the beginning of the destruction, the good which is in it is the beginning of the future redemption. For instance, like seeding, planting in the ground. What happens when you plant in the ground? First of all, you take the seed, you put it in the ground, then it rots. Terrible thing. But after that, it grows up 100 times, 1,000,000 times more. Like it says, Zarati Liboritz, like the Jewish people are planted in the world. That by means of this, they grow up. They make a new level of life and for fertility in the whole entire world. A person only plants one handful of wheat in order that they should grow hundreds of bushels of wheat. That's the whole purpose of the Jewish people, to be in this world, to make infinite good fruits and fruits of fruits until the end of the world. This is the whole idea of the ultimate good, which was doubled, the good of the future redemption, and the building of the third temple, which will be an eternal redemption and an eternal temple. This will be the third temple and the third redemption. Like it says, B'yom ha'shlishi yikamenu, this is hinting at what God said on the third day, that God is going to raise the dead. Okay, all this is coming out what? The fast of the 10th day of Teves is a terrible day. It's the day that we have to remember that the evil forces of the world laid siege to the most holy place in the world, the holy temple. Not only was it heavenly and spiritual, it was a physical holiness in this world. And the Nebuchadnezzar was the worst, most destructive force in the world at the time, and he laid siege potentially to destroy. Terrible day. So, and that's why it's hinted at by the iron wall that God told Ezekiel to. But says the Rebbe, but it also has Barzel has a good side to it. It has an excellent side to it. It has a miraculous side to it. It has a surprising side to it. Just like a seed, you plant one seed in the ground, it grows up a huge, a field eventually, a field, the whole world, and it can nourish millions and millions of people, right? From the seeds that come from those seeds and the seeds that come from those seeds, etc. There's also the destruction of the temple is like planting a seed, and it'll show the good part of this Barzel, which will be the third redemption, the third temple, which will be eternal. It'll show something good and eternal also in every single human being. And that's what we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. I'm sorry that I forgot to give the class, but we waited 20 minutes and everything came out all right. See you all at 3 o'clock, God willing, with Moshiach now.